In this video, it is about the very first steps in the game. So, what you can do best when you enter the game for the very first time. I show you in this video what you should buy first, where you should fish first, and especially how you should fish, so you can move forward as quickly as possible. So if you downloaded the game over Steam, you can of course start it immediately. The email address that you connected with Steam is automatically connected with the game, and with that, you just log in through Steam. If you use the standalone version, just like I do right now, you can create a new account with a new email address. That is what I did, of course. I log in now, and then we take a look at what happens next. We are now inside the game's own small tutorial. Here, the basics are shown and you see how the basic controls work. So let's start the tutorial, and here we go. The completely normal basic settings. These movements you already know. Move with WASD, look around with the mouse. Exactly the way you know it from other games. Time to fish. So, let's go. And here in this case, we do not even have to cast yet. But that will become very important soon. We now focus on the float. When will it go down? And then we try to strike in time so that we catch our very first fish. Well, very nice. The first crucian carp was caught. Very good. And in this case, we release the fish again because it is only a tutorial fish. We can not only look at the fish models in detail with the left mouse button held down, we also see a little check mark above the name. And this check mark means that the fish is big enough. So it is a keeper fish. It has the correct size, the correct weight, and with such a fish later in the game, we already get more silver. Fish without this check mark, however, we do not throw away because they are extremely interesting in the early game for cafe orders. So I release the fish for now, and now we go to casting. That means with the left mouse button, we want to cast into this area. And I load the telescopic rod 75%. That is usually recommended because this way we can still move the rod a little freely, and we did not cast the entire line at full tension. And every time we move the mouse even slightly, we would jiggle the bait. And of course, we want to avoid that because it would scare fish away. And there we already have the next fish. Very nice. We pull it up slowly, and here it was simply like this. I just keep the left mouse button pressed, and slowly the rod lifts up, and because of that, the fish comes closer. Again, we have a classic beginner fish, a roach. This time a small version, but also marked as a keeper, so the size is fine. We release this one as well. Now we should press B, and now we have a small selection of different baits. And in this case, we should choose the maggot. So let's do that. And we cast again about 75%. So we have a bit of movement. Still, ideally, you try to keep as little line as possible lying on the surface. So don't stand like this. Instead, raise the rod a little, and then the distance to strike is extremely short. Yes. And the next really nice fish, a roach of 457 grams. That is already noticeably bigger. You can see it directly on the fish model. And such a fish will also bring more silver later when we sell it on the fish market. We release it again, and with the U key held down, we can assign our rods to number keys. We could put the telescopic rod on 1 and the spinning rod on 2. And by pressing 2, the rod comes out immediately. This will be explained in detail again in the tutorial about key bindings. So, the entire basic tutorial series is almost finished. All information, all basic knowledge is explained step by step in this tutorial series. So don't forget to check it out. Best is to subscribe to the channel so you don't miss the coming videos. The tutorial now says cast. So, cast the lure really far out. And we do that. In this case, we must cast at maximum distance, meaning I immediately hold down the shift key, press the left mouse button, reach maximum power, and then release both. And the lure flies very far out. And now we can reel in slowly with the left mouse button. In spinning, it is recommended to hold the rod toward the water. Yes, and of course, a fish immediately bites. Not really strong, we can pull it in quite easily. And now I use the right mouse button and pull it step by step toward me. There it is, the first perch. Also really nice. 353 grams. That definitely looks good already. Very beautiful fish, a classic spinning fish. And we release it as well. And we cast again. Same as before, fully charged, let the lure sink a bit, and then we reel, and there's already the hit. Oh ha. And we also hear the drag. Okay. So this is definitely a stronger fish, a bigger fish. Now slowly with the mouse wheel we can tighten the drag a bit. Slowly raise the drag. We see the action bar below it flickers, and whenever it does not go further and the clicking starts, we can raise the drag a bit more. Maximum, however, is 29. Now we go a little higher. Yes, I think that is fine. We do not need to raise it stronger, and the fish is already coming in. This looks like a pike. Oh yes. This looks like a pike. Very nice. And wow, what a sound. That one is definitely new. So 3.5 kilograms pike, that is really nice. With such fish later in the game, you make very good silver. You progress very well, and we must release it here, unfortunately. So the pike, also really exciting. Even later in the game, pike fishing is a lot of fun. If you enjoy spinning, this is definitely a very good target fish. We release this one as well. And with that, the tutorial is completed. So you see, it is actually not that informative from the in-game tutorial. You really only get the basics that are shown here, nothing more. And now we have the agony of choice, 2 waters to choose from. And both waters are of course super exciting and interesting. At the moment I would say, so at the time of the recording I would say, the Elk Lake is clearly more worth it. Elk Lake was newly added to the game, and at Elk Lake we currently have excellent conditions, especially for telescopic rod fishing and for spinning. So Elk Lake offers much more action, much more fish. At Mosquito Lake it is like this. It is also a standing water, it is noticeably more relaxed, things move forward a bit slower, but even there you can fish absolutely great. At Mosquito Lake, it also becomes worthwhile later to fish with the first bottom fishing setup. Or rather, a water that is not even listed here yet is Winding Rivulet. We will take a look at that shortly as well. And also at Winding Rivulet, you can later fish extremely well with the telescopic rod, but also do bottom fishing because it is so effective. And because we now have much more action here, I will, as I said, go to Elk Lake now. So, now we get a few greetings from the developers, and then we jump right in. We are basically standing here directly at the water. We are basically standing here in the village, and we already have rods in our hands. So we are basically ready to start. Press F1 to see the help menu. This and even much more will be explained to you in the tutorial settings and key bindings. With escape, we enter the main menu, and now we see exactly what we have here. We are level 1. We can see that at the very top. We have not caught any trophy fish yet. That is the little star next to it. Happy Hour is also not activated. There is also a separate tutorial about premium in the game becomes worthwhile. Meaning, if you get premium, then once per day you get 1 hour of bonus XP. We start with 50 silver, and gold is the real money currency. Then up here we also have a 5-day tour displayed, a tour to Copper Lake. If we click on it, we immediately see the picture of Copper Lake. This is a bottom fishing water, which only becomes available from level 29. And if we then look at the 5-day tour under details, we see that we can buy this tour for under 300 silver, or alternatively for 0.45 gold. And then we have 5 hours real life, so 5 days in-game time to fish there. This is only recommended once you have unlocked the pop-up rig in bottom fishing. Carp fishing at this water, meaning for crucian carp, is already very difficult. You need to pay attention to a few things. You need to check the water temperatures, and you need to know how to build your setup. And as I just said, ideally, you already have the carp pop-up rig. With this rig, you then have very good chances to make very much silver that water within that time, and to get really good XP. But until then, it is still a somewhat longer way. So keep that in mind carefully. This tour can be repeated a maximum of 3 times. The same also applies to the tour to the Northern Sea. That one is much more expensive, and this tour also lasts 5 hours, so 5 days in game. And for both tours, the same rule applies. Once you activate it, the time runs. This means you cannot just go somewhere else. You can log out, leave the game, but as soon as you log in again, the time continues automatically. So, both the tour to Copper Lake and the tour to the Northern Sea are absolutely worth it once you are over level 20. Approximately from level 23, 24 onward, you have enough skill points. And if you then also watch a few tutorials about how to fish at the respective water, then you will definitely earn back the invested silver and gain really good XP. Additionally, especially in this level range above level 20, leveling always becomes a bit harder. And these waters then boost you forward nicely, so you can even get your level close to 29 and then fish at Copper Lake on your own. So we are starting our tour here at Elk Lake. And Elk Lake is one of 3 level 1 waters. All 3 waters have no travel costs, and we can travel between these waters at any time. And as just mentioned, it is extremely worth it to do float fishing at Winding Rivulet, for example for dace and for bleak, but later also bottom fishing. Here you can even fish extremely well for small fish up to level 30 plus, and you can make very good silver and XP. Elk Lake is also excellent for float fishing. Bottom fishing is a bit more difficult here. So float fishing and spinning are really good at Elk Lake. If you tend to prefer float fishing or spinning, then it is absolutely worth it to spend a lot of time at Elk Lake. And at Mosquito Lake, float fishing and bottom fishing are also quite interesting. Fishing here is generally a bit slower, so you tend to have somewhat slower fish, usually more carp-like fish. So what do we do here with our level 1 character? First, we look around and check. What do we actually have here in the village? There is already a tutorial where all shops are explained, what you get there, and what the prices in the different shops are. What is essential for the water? Later, we definitely need the fish market. That is where we will sell our fish. But first we need the cafe, because before we sell the fish, we check if we can still complete cafe orders. The cafe orders give significantly more silver for the individual fish, and the huge advantage, especially at Elk Lake, is that there are regularly cafe orders that we can complete, even with small fish. So pay special attention to the cafe orders at the 3 level 1 waters, and try to complete as many cafe orders as possible. That gives an enormous amount of silver. And of course, there is already a tutorial about this in the tutorial playlist. From time to time, we also need new energy, and we can refill that at the field kitchen once per hour. So here we can get free food once per hour. This then boosts our energy again. What all these icons mean and what the entire overlay is about, there is of course a tutorial for that as well. Later, when we travel to other waters, we naturally have to get a new map. If we press M now, we already have the map of this water. At new waters, we first go to the management office and then get the map of the respective water. And so it begins. That means we now take a look at our inventory by pressing I. We see we have a telescopic rod, we have a spinning rod, and we have various spinners. We even have spinner baits and a variety of different baits at hand, so we already have quite good starting options here. What we can additionally do, since we were just at the management office, we can get a float setup, a replacement kit once per hour. For that, I now press G and have another telescopic rod. Of course, it is not that good, and I do not care so much about the rod. Similarly, I do not care about the rusty hook or the old fishing line. We do not want those. But what we do want are 30 more worms. And so that we can get these worms again in the next hour, we press the blue icon below, select the line, hold Control and click on the hook, and then again with Control on the bamboo rod. Now we have selected and marked these 3 parts of the setup, and then we simply throw them away, so they go into the trash bin. A confirmation message appears asking if we really want to do this. And now these replacement rod parts are gone. We have the worms at hand, so we have 30 more worms. We even have 1 more float and a few more sinkers. We also need these when we rebuild our setup. And with that, in the next hour, we can go back to the management office and say, oh no, my rod broke. I need a new setup. And we get the entire setup again, plus another 30 worms. Now we finally want to start. So let's run best directly down here to the pier. We do not want to use the boat yet. That is not needed at the beginning. But we want to start and already do spinning at Elk Lake and float fishing. And for both fishing types, I will now also show you some tips and tricks on how to get into spinning more easily and how to catch fish more easily in float fishing, and what to pay attention to. First, we press the U key, hold it down. Just like in the beginner tutorial, we now assign our rods to the number keys. That means if we press 1, we have our telescopic rod, and if we press 2, we have our spinning rod, and of course, we cast the telescopic rod. With plus and minus, we set the depth to 30 centimeters, and then we cast comfortably. Also here, as I said, 75% charging, then we just set the rod aside. All key bindings and controls, as I said, there is already a tutorial for that. Check out the basics for sure. And here comes the first fish. I pull a little higher, and then it bites immediately. Hold the left mouse button, move a little forward now. These are the first XP we get. Namely, the first XP for the character overall and the first XP for float fishing. So now we get plus 0.2% in the float fishing skill. And now we do not throw away the fish, of course, because we want to earn silver, and silver is everything in the game. XP are not important. Again, XP are not important. You gain nothing if you level up very fast, but do not have a proper setup. That only leads to standing at higher waters with a worse setup and potentially breaking your setup there. So make sure you reach a good silver per hour rate. That is far more interesting than XP points. If you start making between 100 and 200 silver per hour, you are on a very good path. The fish goes into the landing net with the space bar, and we cast immediately again. I charge again to approximately 75%. The rod comes down again, and in the meantime, I can also take the other rod. This is the spinning rod with the Colorado spinnerbait. For the spinnerbait, we reduce the speed a little. So hold R key and use the mouse wheel to slow down a bit. Then shift and left mouse button, maximum charge. Cast it out. Let it sink a little. Now we already have bottom contact below, and now we pull gently. And there we have it. We already have a real monster on the line. Wow. Okay, this is wild. Really wild. I did not expect this, but of course, it is also very nice. That means make sure the drag is correctly set. Ideally at the start, the drag should be at most at the beginning of the red zone, not higher if possible. You immediately see, if we turn it down, you hear the drag spinning all the time. And if you turn higher and higher and still hear it spinning, theoretically, you can turn even higher, higher, and higher. But at the end of red, it is dead. At the end of red, the line breaks, and we definitely do not want that. That means depending on how strong the fish fights, sometimes with head shakes. Make sure you do not turn your setup too far into the red. Additionally, the wear on your setup increases. Now I constantly pay attention to maintaining tension and hold the rod a little away from the fish, basically at a 90-degree angle upward to the left. This makes it particularly difficult for the fish and directs it toward the shore instead of the open lake. That means, if we look at the fish now, it naturally swims left and right, and at some point it may even run toward the open lake. And then it could take our line empty. We do not want that. So push firmly into the blank and steer the fish to the right. That means push the rod left so that the fish goes the other way, turns to the right. And now we wait here, and as long as it runs off like this, we do not need to reel in. But with fish that constantly do head shakes and the action bar goes up and down, it is recommended to reel in occasionally, sometimes even using shift for fast reeling, so we do not lose tension. If the action bar below is completely gone, the fish can possibly slip the hook. Even so, it is possible for a fish to slip because the hooks and setup at the start are not very good. The hook quality especially is not very good initially, so it is possible for a fish to slip at the start. Another factor is important, which we see below. The line capacity we have left. We now have only a quarter of the line left on our setup. That means at a certain point we must simply follow the fish so it does not escape. So at some point, when the fish has taken so much line, we must run after it. With such a fish, I completely ignore the float rod. If something bites there, it is nice. But here, I want to catch a big, strong fish first. Now it eases a bit. I try to quickly reel in with the shift key to get as much line back as possible because it is already pulling me very empty. At latest, when there is almost 10% line left, I have to run. But it seems it is already at the far shore and cannot swim further. So quickly push the rod upwards again. Just with the rod head up or move the mouse up. Simply push the mouse up. Do not use the right mouse button. We do not do that here. If you constantly pump with the right mouse button, it can cause the fish to slip more easily. A few minutes later, I'm still holding the fish and it is still running away. If you notice it keeps pulling, the drag may start to heat up, shown by the warning icon below. If that happens, the wear increases sharply. We want to absolutely avoid this in the end game because repairs for rods and reels are extremely expensive there. At the start, it may not be so bad because repairs are cheap, but in the end game we want to avoid it. And how do we avoid it? By gradually lowering the drag so less pressure is on it. This cools the drag significantly. Disadvantage: the fish can flee faster. But some fish are just very strong in the beginning. They escalate, and once they calm down, we can slowly bring them in. Yes, and it is slowly coming closer. Good sign. So I try to pull it in gently. I basically do nothing else besides holding the left mouse button, and we simply pull it in. And based on the line capacity indicator, we can roughly estimate how far the fish is. Even if we do not look directly, we see it is not far anymore. And I think we can already see something up front. Yes, we can see a large back emerging. Looks interesting. Yes, looks good. It will be a big perch. It still tries to escape, but we pull it in gently. This is a very nice second fish, and it will surely boost our account nicely. I had not experienced this before, boosted from level 1 to level 7 with just one fish. That is, of course, delicious. Yes, that is the reason why I currently prefer Elk Lake, because such fish appear here again and again. Of course, not constantly, but it is possible. And that is exactly the beauty of this water. So not only the possibility to advance faster with such fish, but also this action during the fight, that you have such strong fighting perches here. Because we now have several levels with the spinning rod, we get small bonus items for spinning with each level up, so that we progress more easily in spinning. Let's take a look at that. So we are now immediately at level 7. And for level 2, top right it shows, we get another spinner. For level 3, another spinner, and another spinner for level 4, and another spinner for level 5, and new line for level 6, and another spinner for level 7. If we had done this fish or several fish in a row, all with float fishing, we would have received various dough baits. However, this is much more interesting when you fish at Mosquito Lake. So here it is recommended at Mosquito Lake to do the level ups rather with float fishing. Even if you later want to become a bottom fisher, it is recommended to level up here with float fishing because the baits we get in the leveling phase can of course later also be used for bottom fishing. We only get these bonus items up to level 10. From level 10 to level 11, we get an extra rod. And there you also have to decide. If you catch the last fish with spinning, you get another spinning rod. If you catch the last fish with float, you get another telescopic rod. So decide at level 10 or 10 and a half how you want to continue fishing and which bonus rod you want at level 11. These bonuses no longer exist after level 11. So again, briefly about spinning. We cast the bait maximally. At the beginning, it is recommended to cast into this area rather than into that area. As already explained, the whole lake is open here, and if a big fish goes in, there is simply a chance it will pull your line empty. So look at the map carefully and see. Where does a fish flee? If it is very strong, it always flees away from you. And if it flees into this area because of our position, it cannot escape, and that is the huge advantage. That is why I currently cast with the small setup into this area. If I want to fish this edge, I of course do not stand in the front, but position myself across. Then I am aligned in this direction. And again here, if a big fish goes in, it flees away from me. You can still follow a little, and the fish is basically trapped in this area. For spinning, it is also very important to play with the baits. We have a nice selection of various spinner baits and spinners. These can later also be used excellently at Bayar from level 12, but even here, it is worth testing these spinners repeatedly. Depending on the weather, depending on the temperature, you have to run the spinner differently. There will also be a separate tutorial for spinning soon. But float fishing can also be extremely effective here. Especially if you want to complete cafe orders, you can fish very well with the first telescopic rod. Additionally, the first better telescopic rods that you can buy are extremely cheap. We will also look at that shortly. Bam! And another one bites immediately. Hit the left mouse button and just hold it. Unfortunately, float fishing requires a bit of practice. That means casting requires practice and hitting the exact moment to press the left mouse button. Additionally, fish have different bite behaviors. Some bite very fast, some pull slowly at first and test the bait. So learn the different bite behaviors of different fish. Additionally, we must adjust the bait depth from time to time, depending on how warm or cold it is, and depending on the time of day. It is possible that in cold weather, the fish stay near the surface, or at night, like now, the fish stay near the bottom. In float fishing, it also helps to move a little. That means, if you stand at a water edge and want to fish nearby, but have too much line on the surface, take a few steps back, lift the rod slightly, and you have less line on the surface, and the strike becomes much easier. The fish almost hooks itself. This is worth doing, and when you pull the fish in with the left mouse button, just move a little forward, and the next one bites. Pulled immediately. Yes, if you have a slightly heavier fish on the telescopic rod, it is also worth using the net. Also for spinning, it is definitely worth using the net. If we now press the left mouse button and then the space bar, the net extends. Now I hold the left mouse button, and as soon as we get closer, the net extends slowly. By the way, it is recommended to upgrade the net. and we will look at that now. So, what is recommended to buy at the beginning, and what should you save for? First, we look briefly into the fishing shop. Under Accessories, top right, and under Miscellaneous, we find a 3-meter net, and we buy it. We can actually do this first. And once we bought it, we press I, go into the inventory, take the blue tool, select the 2-meter net, and just throw it away. Or you can put it in your house. How does it work? Of course, already explained in a tutorial, but we only need this one net. The 2-meter net is no longer used anyway. If you do not throw it away, this 2-meter net will always extend automatically. And as we noticed, that was already quite tight. It does not extend far enough. This 3-meter net is the A&O. By the way, for all types of fishing, not only for float fishing, this counts also for spinning and bottom fishing. Another goal could be to buy a shovel at the beginning. I do not have silver for it now, but a shovel should definitely be bought over time. If we dig regularly, we increase the bait collection skill and get new worms. This is now the second tutorial account I started in the last few weeks. And I can say, with float fishing, you advance incredibly well here. If you enjoy float fishing, it is worth continuing later in the game whenever you have the opportunity. And if you make the first percentages in the beginning, from level 12, you will progress much more easily. And the nice thing is, the first float fishing setup you can quickly save up for is the Float Set Start. It costs only 45 silver. With the last tutorial account, I got it twice immediately. I still had the starting telescopic rod, and together 3 rods with which I could fish very well. I would even buy the Float Set Start 3 times over time. Then you have 3 rods with a carrying capacity of 5.5 kilograms and the rod length of 5 meters, which is very good for the start. So an absolute purchase recommendation for the start. And with such a setup, you can also stand near the cafe pier and fish comfortably with the telescopic rod. 3 rods, cast easily, set aside, and you have a continuous fish after fish. You only need to turn around occasionally to see which fish you still need to complete the next cafe order. Otherwise, explore the map. Find spots where you think, wow, this is really nice. Here are some water lilies. There is some grass in the water. There are probably some fish. So just test a lot. And most importantly, watch as many videos as possible about the different fish species. How do you fish for the fish? What is important? Which baits are relevant? Which spots are interesting? The more you know as an angler, the easier and better you progress. After this part of the tutorial, it continues with the different fishing types. That means the tutorial is divided into different areas. One part will be the tutorial series for float fishing. The next part, tutorial series for spinning. The third part, tutorial series for bottom fishing. And of course also a tutorial series for sea fishing. So subscribe to the channel, leave a thumbs up if this helped, and we will see each other in one of the next tutorials, or maybe in a live stream. Until then, tight lines.